Let's do this. Yes, yes. Timothy Michael McKernan, Jackson Burkett's Balloon Party. If you're watching on YouTube, Courtney Landrum from 106.5 The Arch. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of favorite people in the building.
Yeah.
I really do. Mm-hmm. It's not like a thing I'm saying just to like say it. Now, I am my favorite person in the building.
Right. That goes without saying.
I kind of feel like that, but I don't know. That could come off wrong. But she was observing this banana if you're watching on YouTube. What do you think of it? Is this
awful.
too? Really?
I wouldn't eat that if you paid me. That thing's going to be so mushy and nasty. I'll take a green banana over that.
I'm going to respectfully disagree because Balloon Party is about respectful disagreements.
It is, yes.
It's driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, and she was just horrified by the banana. If you're not a TMA listener, number one, what are you doing, honestly? Because we got this 20th anniversary orgy we're planning on July 26th.
That's right.
So if you want to get an invite, start listing.
Yeah, and get familiar.
With HD2. But also, at the outset of the program, and this is more of a TMA thing, if somebody isn't talking in conspiracy theories form on the program,
right,
there must be an issue behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, today, just to the full transparency, you know what I am? I'm as sick as a little hawk. I'm as sick as a little hawk. And if you zoom in, if you can get past the banana, and you zoom in, today there isn't white powder under my right nostril. There's snot. My nose is running. My family's been sick. I woke up today with crusty eyes.
Oh, that's brutal.
And I woke up and I go, what the hell's going on? I went to bed. I was fine. My wife's been sick.
Yeah.
Not my problem.
Right.
Yeah, kids are sick. Not my problem.
Yeah.
But now I'm sick, and now it's everybody's problem.
That's right.
And so today we will be hearing from Jackson Burkett for the majority of the program as he breaks down Luka and Kyrie.
You know, as much as I would love to do that and just have the hate rain down upon us, at some point I might bring it up and have a little conversation with myself. But no, not after the Redbirds.
Oh, sweep, sweep, tweet, tweet. The Cardinals are coming, tra-la, tra-la. And by the way, we talked a little bit about the Cardinals being plus 700 to win the National League Central on Munsman.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it this morning. It's only moved to plus 650. Now, I want to be crystal clear. I'm not going, I think this might be a great baseball team. Is it a good enough baseball team to win the 2024 National League Central? I think they do it more than 1 out of 7 times.
I would agree with that.
That's why I looked at that number and I was stunned. So I'm just telling you, if you're in the investment industry, I think there might be a little positive EV. That's all I'm telling you. Do with it what you want. Yeah. Plus 650 is the number now. That sweep got them to plus 650.
Yep. So they first sweep of the season for the Redbirds, finally closing out that third game. A lot of action at Busch yesterday with finishing out the rain-suspended game from Tuesday night and then winning the afternoon game that was
which also featured a delay.
Yes, yeah, it was
delays galore.
It was raining up in St. Louis.
I wanted to get the Baltimore because I'm sure you're. What's your question? What is the name of today's? What is the name of today's?
Today's question says called "Jagged Little Piddle,"
and that's a tribute to Alanis Morissette's 1995 debut album. Tribute to Dave Coulier, correct?
That sounds right. Dave Coulier, of course, played Uncle Joey on Full House.
Watch this. Cut it out.
And he lived in the basement, whereas John Stamos lived in the attic. And if we're being honest, and
Jackson's going to now break down the plot of Full House.
Not the plot, but and obviously rest in peace, Bob Saget. But what a life where a guy who hosts morning television in San Francisco could own like a 4-story house with a basement and could have
so you have a
12
problem
people
with the cost of living relative to the income of Danny Tanner.
Right.
Is that the focus of Jagged Little Piddle?
No, not necessarily.
The Cardinals just swept. The Battlehawks are in the playoffs. The Doggies are bouncing back. Tom Stillman was in studio on the opening drive. Didn't stop by TMA. Little surprised if he knew what it was. And you're going to focus on the breakdown of Lori Loughlin's Full House.
Lori Loughlin. Not necessarily, but I think they call those houses the Pink Ladies in San Francisco. Those that line up like that.
I wouldn't know because I never have wanted to live anywhere but St. Louis.
Right, especially not in one of these coastal towns.
That's right.
That's not where you want to be. But it just seems like a morning news host pulling down that kind of money and being able to feed all those people.
What do you have a bigger problem with that? The arrangement for Danny Tanner or the rent-controlled situation? Matthew Perry, Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer had.
All of those New York-based shows where they live in these lavish apartments, but they're like
Jerry Seinfeld's place wasn't really lavish.
No, that was probably the most modest of them all. But like Sex and the City, like these people like can just take off afternoons and have wine, and they like work at a magazine.
So you watch a lot of Sex in the City, do you?
I've seen it before.
I mean, but you're breaking down Carrie Bradshaw's apartment and Kim Cattrall's arrangement. What about her and Mannequin? Thoughts?
Plenty of them. We'll get to that in the fourth segment. I just, some of these people, they have like these like all these creative jobs. It's like they never,
What's the best show based out of St. Louis?
TV show?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if do we have any options there?
I'm pretty
Can I
sure.
go Donnybrook or something?
I'm pretty sure there was a show with either Ted Danson or John Larroquette that was based out of St. Louis.
Okay. Ted Danson's character played for the Cardinals, didn't he, in Cheers at one point?
No, that was Sam Malone, played for the Red Sox. Tony Danza's character in Who's the Boss with the great and cute little Danny Pintaro. He played second base for the Cardinals.
Okay.
And then, as is the case with many former major leaguers in 2024, became a housekeeper in New England.
The money was different.
That's where Ty Wigginton is now, and he'll join us at 10:30.
Yeah, John Larroquette show is the only one I'm seeing here.
There you go. Shipped it.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I'm ill, I'm great.
You are. You are great. Yeah. There's not many options there.
John Larroquette show.
Yeah. I mean, Ozark, I guess, is in the Ozarks, but it's shot in Atlanta.
Right.
So it doesn't really count. And they never really try to make it look like the Ozarks.
And you're going to the Lake of the Ozarks this weekend for Memorial Day weekend.
No.
Oh, what happened?
Well, see, Tim, the place in the Hamptons is being renovated.
Wow. The parents aren't going to use it, so you're going to go up there?
Well, the place is getting renovated. Airbnb the other one for the weekend.
Right.
And so kind of out of options there. So I'll just stay in town.
So you're going to stay in St. Louis?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? I'm curious. Cardinals and Cubs.
Yeah, probably play some golf a little bit Friday.
Log.
Log and bogey, obviously, executive 18 there. And then, we'll just play it by ear after that.
Okay.
But there'll be no lake. I won't be going to the lake.
All right.
Ever.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I cut that ever part. What is the first question in Jagged Little Piddle?
Sure. I got you right here, Tim. Get out your brooms, Timmy, because the sweep is in order after a busy day at Busch yesterday.
The Cardinals are coming, tra-la, tra-la. The Cardinals are coming, tra-la, tra-la.
Not only has the team won 8 out of 10, they have done it in a fun manner with offense ranging from pulled bombs to Donovan's Little League home run yesterday. Based on watching on Bailey's, does it seem like the team is having a little bit more fun? I can surely say.
Oh, God. You know what I feel like doing? I can't do it because I respect 101 ESPN HD1. But if this were HD2, I'd pull up a trash can and I would urinate on your narrative-based question. The team's having more fun, so they're winning.
No,
Are you horse plowing me here today when I'm sick, and you're going to try to take advantage of that by advancing a narrative? I've never been angrier.
No.
I might throw this delectable banana. Look at this. Looks like Evan Stone.
I have an idea where that is, but no, you have it backwards. They are winning, and therefore they are having more fun.
Well, isn't winning fun?
One would think.
Okay. So
There's teams that have won a lot who didn't seem like they were having much fun.
The Yankees, when they would fight each other in the dugout.
86 Mets, they've had a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong.
They just had a tough time sleeping.
Yeah, right. And that might have caused them to be a little ornery with each other. I'm just saying it seems like, because a lot of this offense is coming from the younger guys. And so it seems to me like they're having a little bit more fun. But the real question is, are we past the point of a small run, and have we now seen a sustained success period that you know that this team could compete?
So I wanted to get the perspective of the Orioles writers on the series. And my reasoning for that is I felt like last week the Cardinals played a really bad team.
Yeah.
They still
Angels.
won.
Yeah.
And then also they played the team that is in first place in the Central, but we both acknowledge the Central probably isn't a great division. But you don't know. You might be on the Brewers. Who knows? Maybe the Cubs. We'll see them here starting tomorrow. But the Angels, I would imagine even those in Anaheim, hell, even those in the clubhouse would probably say, oh, that's a bad baseball team.
No doubt.
Red Sox kind of lingering around 500. Orioles, that's a possible AL East division winner. And, of course, the Marlins could wind up winning the World Series. But if you win the American League East over 162 games, that shows you got something going on. Cardinals just swept them. So I was wondering if you're in Baltimore, you're kind of like, yeah, but I mean, the games were delayed, so we really didn't have the same. It was a difference. Like, are there excuses that are just like, no, we played badly? Because that team hadn't been swept in more than 2 years.
Yep.
Sick run.
Longest run and active run in MLB right now. I would think on the second game, when you split up a game over 2 days and it comes back.
Bradish.
It comes back.
He was dealing.
He was, and it comes back 1-1. That's a coin flip game. Like, you can lose that game and be like, all right, I don't know.
But John Means, since coming off the IL, has been pitching well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, not that they necessarily beat up on him, but so trying to get under, like, did they just get, and offensively, the Cardinals shut that team down. I mean, they shut down. I sat here, I can't imagine the Cardinals winning more than 4.5 games because I have no idea how they're going to outscore the Orioles. Well, they did because they shut them down for the most part offensively. What did the Orioles score combined in the series? Did they even get to double digits?
3, 4, 7.
Okay. I mean, that team,
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane against, Sonny Gray pitched one of the games, but still. So you go, okay, well, what's going on here? So with regard to Means, it turns out throughout the course of the broadcast, the Orioles broadcast was pointing out his velocity was way down.
Okay.
And that's one thing. And then they eventually got somebody up and going before the delay yesterday. Mm-hmm. But still, that doesn't necessarily explain what happened with the Orioles offense.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be as good as it gets in baseball. It's up there with take your pick of whomever, Yankees, Dodgers, Braves, maybe missing one. Is there an offense that stands out to you other than that I could be missing?
You
Am I hitting? Okay.
Yeah, you nailed it.
And the Cardinals shut them down.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's unreal.
Absolutely.
So what's going on? Is this a case of did the Cardinals really beat up on a great team? Did Baltimore fumble F around? I don't know. So specific to yesterday's second game, throughout the course of that broadcast, they were observing that Means was down. But again, fine, Cardinals didn't necessarily beat up on him. The comeback took place when he was out of the game.
Yep.
But overall, the Cardinal pitching kept him in check. And I think what's becoming something that I do think is something you can rely on with this team is the bullpen. And that was already there, but it was going on while the team was losing. Now, if you dissect what's going on with the winning, you go, well, look at this bullpen. Bullpen's been there. What's happening now is the Cardinals are converting opportunities into runs. And you are getting offense from places that, of course, you weren't getting before because they weren't scoring any runs. And what I am, want to make sure I point out, beating the Angels is one thing. That's an operation there. I mean, that's a real operation they got going in Anaheim. But they were right there with the Brewers to split that series. Ciani just barely misses the Saturday night ball. Probably most people weren't paying attention to it at the time. Then they win on that Sunday, take 2 or 3 from the Angels, 2 or 3 from the Red Sox. Then you sweep the Orioles. Here you go, which is why in a division where you don't have a Braves or Dodgers or whoever else you would like to cite, I think that they're live, which is why when I see plus 650 or what was plus 700 to win the division, I think that's there. Now, I don't think that means, great team. This team also had a streak like this right at I think the exact time last year.
Yep.
Weirdly enough.
STL Today had an article about that this morning.
That the Cardinals went on a winning streak in May of 2023. And then obviously things, I still think from a ceiling perspective, the rotation is just, it can't. I mean, Matthew Liberatore is scheduled to start tomorrow. Is tomorrow Saturday? I'm sorry. Like I said, I ain't doing well. He's still scheduled to start Saturday. That is something else. Yep. And it'll be Gray against Assad, at least scheduled on Sunday night. And I want to digress here, but I really do think there's something to be said. Because to me, what I would do is I would skip that spot in the rotation and have Gray pitch on full rest because he started on Monday against the Orioles. Cardinals had the day off today, and have Gray pitch Saturday. And then who would be on Sunday?
I think Lance Lynn.
But there's always something a little strange about how the great pitching matchups take place on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah. There's that famous one of, was it Pedro versus Roger Clemens, early 2000?
All I'm telling you is if you have fantasy baseball teams, and I'm sure many of you do, and you go, oh, it's a Sunday, they might give them the day off. And then you see a 6:05 start, you go, they're not giving them the day off.
No.
And it's not a coincidence. All due respect, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Point being, I think it'd make more sense for Sonny Gray to start on Saturday, Lance Lynn to start on Sunday, and skip the Matthew Liberatore start. But all that said, what's gone on here over the last 2 weeks, has Ali Marmol done something different? It's kind of where I go back to on the Marmol conversation.
Right.
It's like, this is the roster. I don't know who's going to come in here and Bruce Bochy going to make this thing magical. You just don't like the team losing. I get it. Who does? You don't like the way he does post games. Okay, who does? I don't think he's done something different over the last 2 weeks. What's happened is you got a bullpen that's dealing, and that's been going on, but now you got an offense that is producing. So that's the magic of it. But you do that against that team, that's a hell of a lot more valuable to me than what you did last week against an Angels team that kind of gave you assists in the wins. All right, 10:21 in St. Louis. We got a break. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. This is Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, 101 ESPN. Welcome back. Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. Jackson's in the midst of jagged little piddles.
Yep, jagged little piddle.
Here's his second question. Did you go into one of your
trances?
Yeah.
A little bit, but we're
you
back.
gooning, bro?
No gooning. Not until after 11. All right. Something we were texting about yesterday, and by we, I mean you and Kevin Lorenz, with me by extension, was...
Now, the audience, while I know Kevin Lorenz, and you know Kevin Lorenz, they might not know Kevin Lorenz.
Former producer on TMA.
That's exactly right.
A member of
the International Brotherhood of Nitwits.
Right. And the great hockey guy.
He is. He'll text in quite a bit when we're talking it over with JR. And by we, I mean...
Right. You and Kevin Lorenz.
And JR. You're over there looking at...
I'm in transes. Gooning. All right. We were talking about Blues owner Tom Stillman openly discussing the Bally situation on this very station on the opening drive.
Yeah.
He was in studio. He was quite candid, saying it could cost them money over the next 2 or 3 years, but in the long run, it could be great. And then you and Kevin discussed how that contrasts from the Cardinals and their stance or how much they've talked about the TV situation.
Can we play that clip?
Oh, yeah. You better believe it.
I think that, for those who haven't heard this conversation, this would be helpful.
All right. Here's Blues owner Tom Stillman talking about the TV situation.
On the opening drive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that has been, obviously, that's been a big issue for us and the other, whatever it is, 14, 15 NHL teams that are with Bally's or Diamond Sports Group. Unfortunately, it is still uncertain. It's uncertain whether Bally's, Diamond Sports Group, is going to be able to stay in business. In a lot of ways, that would be the best outcome for us now. We have a good deal with them. We're one of their better markets because both us and we and the Cardinals do well and have high ratings. And there is some decent chance that will work. Others doubt that it will. And we in the league are working on multiple options in that event. I don't know if you've seen what, some teams around the league have done. Some have gone over the air. Some have gone with streaming options. So we're confident that we will have something so that our fans will be able to see our games. Some of those options may not be as advantageous to us financially.
I was just going to add, does it affect your what comes into the organization?
Some options would. Some options could be pretty good. We and the league are pretty confident that over 2 or 3 years from now, we'll be on something, could become completely different. We could be on a national platform. We could be on, our own streaming, but it'll get resolved, and we see this as a short-term, issue. I mean, not 3 months, 2 years, something like that, where 2-3 years where we're going to take a financial hit, but we can't let that affect, whether we're going to be competitive 2, 3, 4 years from now. So we will be taking, we'll be making the moves, on players that we have to make, and if that's a little tougher for us now, we'll accept that because we've got to have ourselves in position years going forward.
Loved it. No, you did too? No.
I just like being so candid,
Yeah.
laying everything out there, explaining it so that there's no question about, there can be still questions about the whole situation because it's obviously super fluid, but you get candid response saying even to say we might take a financial hit for 2 or 3 years, but in the long run, we think it's going to be a success.
I just don't think you can go wrong with that.
Right.
And it builds credibility, and it helps the fan base feel like that their emotional and financial investment in a team is being reciprocated when they feel like they're being talked to as an equal and not talked down to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's what I would say about that. And as far as Dan's follow-up question with regarding the impact on the ice, it's certainly something that they're aware of, no question about it. And logic would dictate that they are aware of it. But it also sounds like he is hopeful that they will come away with a better situation. I really hope that is the case. I'm not sure that is the case. I wonder how, if they're putting probabilities on it, what probability he would put on it being better, both for fans but also for the organization financially and teams as a whole in the NHL.
Right. And, anytime we discuss this, I feel like the conversation always kind of shifts from texters or people listening to, well, Cardinals and Blues, can't they just all take it in-house and start their own network and, cut out the middleman, essentially? But that you're incurring so much risk, and you're taking...
You have that, and you also have what happens when they're both playing at the same time conversation. So
Right.
there's that
Right.
in addition to it. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, I think that what you will see is independent, i.e. non-network affiliated stations, somehow get back into the game. It's like we're taking a little time capsule back to the late 80s and 1990s, Jackson. Hello again, everybody.
Hello, friends.
And that'll be an option for those who, whether they be older or they're just not into the streaming thing, whatever the case might be, that is there. Like Rich Gould doing games on the WB11.
I'd love. Bring back Rich.
Oh, God
That'd
bless
be great.
America. But then if you like the streaming model, as, for example, I enjoy I'm out at a cocktail lounge, talking it over, just telling stories about myself. And everybody's gathered around. Tell me more about yourself, Tim. That's what they say.
Yeah.
And I say, 1 second, looks like City's playing, and I can just open up my app on my phone, and it doesn't matter where I am. I could be across the street over at Maggie O'Brien's, talking it over with Eddie McVeigh. Or I could be...
At a bris.
Yes, that's where I actually usually am.
Yep.
And I go, hold on a second, let me see what's doing. And I can just watch it on my phone. Whereas if the Cardinals are playing, I feel like I'm that cute little Sean Astin in Goonies, and I'm looking for Chester Copperpot's treasure. And I got to go a map in order to find the damn ball game in 2024.
That is after you sign in twice on Bally's.
God bless America. So you'll give the people the option who like not having streaming.
Yep.
You give the people the option who have streaming. But of course, you can say it, and okay, that sounds great. But then the expense that comes with that, and then, of course, on the other side of our ledger is what, Jackson? You went to Ladue. This is all you are focused on.
Losses.
Revenue.
Oh, okay.
Losses is when the tax return preparation comes into play. But before you get there, that's when we go, oh, let's take a look at our revenue on this. And again, the issue specifically for the Cardinals is if you were counting on 60+ million every year, and now that number is even 45 million. Go, well, 45 million is a lot of money. It sure is.
The starter.
But it's a 25% reduction of where you were.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that matters. So that's why I just don't know how it's going to get better than what it was. It might get better as far as access for fans, but for organizations, it might be a reduction, or some may still be able to kill it, the Dodgers, while others, perhaps the Cardinals, but certainly some of these butt asses that never really are trying to play anyway, some of our friends in the National League Central, how are they possibly going to come out of this better financially?
Right. I think you made right there, you hit on the point that I find so interesting, both baseball and hockey, because it's different than media buy of the NFL and also the NBA you can put into the NHL, NBA, or MLB, NBA, because a place wouldn't be buying the league. They'd be buying a certain number of teams, many of which aren't the Yankees, Dodgers, insert big cities here, Cubs. Like, you're not buying those teams. You're buying like 14 to 17 teams and their broadcast rights and their streaming rights. Whereas like Apple TV and the MLS, they have the entire MLS. That's where you watch the games, is on Apple TV. The NFL, you're buying, all of the NFL. So I feel like that is a little bit tough because you're buying essentially a la carte, and that's what always confuses me. Like Amazon, someone like Amazon, where I think if I had to put money down right now, MLB streaming for those teams will be on Amazon. If I had to put money down right now.
Yeah, I could see that. If I had to wager, I would agree with you on that. 10:35 in St. Louis. We'll close out the second segment. Balloon Party halfway through today with Jagged Little Piddles on 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals finished the sweep, taking all 3 games against the Baltimore Orioles, winning 5-4 yesterday. Off day today, and they'll take on the Cubs for a weekend series in St. Louis starting tomorrow night. And last night in the NBA, the Mavericks defeat the Timberwolves 108-105 as they take Game 1 in Minnesota. Luka Doncic was 33 points. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Balloon Party 101 ESPN, Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett. Little Piddles presents Jagged Little Piddles for Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. It's 10:40 in St. Louis. That's the central time zone. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I got a question for you, Tim.
Good. That's the gig.
Seemingly. All right. Give me a moment here. All right. Yeah. All right. Got it. Pulled up here. All right.
Did this catch you off guard? I mean, you even named Jagged Little Piddles.
I did.
And then it just disappeared into thin air.
Nah.
Starting to make me wonder if there were any more questions.
Oh, there are. Oh, don't you worry about that there, Tim. Don't you worry. As someone with young kids like yourself, what do you think makes a child fall in love with a sport from a viewing perspective?
Wow.
Playing?
God. I mean, on a day where this is my Jordan flu game.
This is, yeah. Yeah, let me be Scottie Pippen. I'll hold you as we walk over to the bench.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
This question, wow.
Yep.
This has just engaged me.
There we go. Playing the sport with their friends, and then they watch it on TV, or a young star that kids can relate to and idolize that would get them in front of the TV to watch.
I truly want to hear from parents on this one.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. I've never even thought of this question. I love this question. I could sit here and do 2 hours on it. I'm curious what people have observed on this. I'm conscious of, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying for me, like Riz and I have talked about this. Scott Rizzuto, Riz Show. Great people.
Yeah.
Couldn't be a bigger fan of the guy as a guy. And obviously got an incredibly successful show. And he calls, when he talks about his kids on the air, I believe he told me he calls them the boy and the girl. Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't want just that little sliver of the audience and get a little, that they bring the kids into it. It's like Mafia Wars.
Yeah.
Now we're going to leave the wife and the kids out of it. Us, Jackson, we leave here every day with psychological bullet holes all up and down our bodies.
Witness protection.
That's the cost of the glory of doing a 1-hour show.
It's true.
So I kind of am like, I don't want to be Guy. I don't want to be Kathy Lee and saying, hey, Reed, you won't believe what Cody did today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you know what? As I told my wife, I said, I love them, but, they're just a guy to everybody else. And that's the reality.
It's true.
But what I have observed now with 2 young children is, and I have no idea how, the younger one, who is 2, who I spent an hour with at family golf last night, and he turned 2 in January, loves hitting golf balls. I have no idea why. I obviously love it, but then you go, well, then why doesn't the 6-year-old love it as much? And I don't have an answer. Why did like you obviously love basketball. I don't know the origin story on that. I think your father probably has something to do with, if I had to guess.
Basketball coach, yeah.
I have no idea how my love for baseball became what it became, because my dad certainly, I guess we would watch games when they were on, but I mean, I'm growing up in the early 1980s. It wasn't, I guess actually games were more accessible in the early 1980s in 2024, now that I think about it. But, he tells a story of he would wad up pieces of the Postus badge, and I would sit there with a 2-liter soda bottle and obviously rake with sick exit velo like O'Neill Cruz.
Yeah. Same height.
Same, actually. Yeah. That's exactly right. But I lived for Cardinal games, lived for it. But then the question becomes, how do you get from the point of, being an infant / baby / toddler to being consumed by it?
Right.
I know this might sound weird, but again, I bet we're getting some great texts. I really am I can't wait to read these. Air Comfort Service text line. This has nothing to do with my family. It's just one of the kids that my son plays with in soccer. And I mean, he's playing in hockey, and Steve Ott's son is, and it's got nothing to do with my son. It's just the area is out there. And you can tell, obviously, if it's a Blues play, they're going to play more. They're also just going to have genetics, but they're also going to have the ability to learn quicker. You know, when I'm out there with hockey, I don't know a damn thing about skating. I didn't play. But I don't have to, like, see a golf shot. I can hear it, and I can kind of have an idea of what the thing is doing just because I play a lot. Doesn't mean I'm good. It just means I'm around it. But with the love of the game, that's one thing. But one of these kids on my son's soccer team, you know, it's just CYC, and I'm just like, I can't wait to watch him play.
Right. And
then my dad one time, because it stood out to him, and he goes up to the kid's dad and goes, "What's, you know?" Because this was, you know, everybody, you know, you got good players, but then you got this. And he goes, "You know, the thing is, when he gets home, he'll leave his cleats on and he'll be in the backyard and he'll just be by himself." And so that to me is kind of the thing that, like, separates. And that doesn't mean, and in a way, it can kind of be a tortured existence that can be somewhat, as you grow up. I mean, isolated, absolutely. Yep. You know, I played a lot of poker. I made money, but it's not like you're on a poker team. Yeah. You're sitting at a table. Oftentimes, back for me, it was online. But then if you're at a table, it's not like a real social thing. No, you know, I mean, it can be, but like when you're playing in like the World Series of Poker main event, you might be the only American at the table, you know.
Reeks of stale cigarette smoke.
And, you know, and sexual deviance. So I fit in that capacity.
Right.
But, yeah, what gets a child engaged? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not necessarily advocating like, here's the recipe, because I think it can actually be, you know, I mean, would Tiger Woods say he had a fun childhood? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he would.
Right.
You know, he might probably now look back and think about the time with his late father, you know, so it might paint that recollection. But if you love something, I may have cited this. I think I saw it with Wayne Gretzky doing an interview on Joe Buck's show that he used to do. You know, he goes, I'll have these hockey parents come up to me and go, "How many hours did you practice?" And he goes, "I felt like I never practiced because I loved playing, so therefore I was practicing when I was playing." I'm paraphrasing, but his point was, if you love it, you don't feel like you're working at it.
Right.
So for me, my escape is to go hit golf balls. Not that I'm some great golfer, but I just enjoy that. So then I guess by proxy, I'm practicing. So if you have a child who just loves doing it on their own, then right there, to me, you have an intangible that may be as important as the physical gifts, because by doing it over and over all those hours, you are going to improve. It's just obvious. Yeah. So I love that question. I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to go into that Air Comfort Service text inbox. What are you seeing, Jackson? Because I don't have it up. What are you getting? You got any good stories from fine friends of the feather? A
lot of good stuff where it's not split necessarily, but there's some people saying, you know, just playing the sport with all their friends makes them fall in love with it, and then they want to watch the best players play it on TV. And then there's other people saying, like, this person inspired my child to start playing the sport. Now they watch it and play it like crazy. So I think there's a mix between that. I'm sure it's case by case, child by child.
Now, what about this one?
Yeah.
Because I hadn't heard about this one. Tell them to watch the game or they don't eat. That usually does it. So there you got that.
One way.
That's the thing. There's a bunch of different ways to get into the end zone.
No doubt. But I think something we've discussed before is that, like, exactly what you're talking about, the torture existence, where it's that intrinsic motivation to keep working at it. And like you said earlier, too, it then doesn't feel like practice. It feels like I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do in a way.
And you just absolutely love it. And then, because I don't think this goes on at a young age, and if it does, it probably does, but for different reasons, becomes the I hate to lose more than I enjoy winning, and therefore I'm motivated not to experience the feel of defeat. And so I will work my ass off obsessively to make sure I don't get that feeling, which of course means if you didn't lose, you won.
Yep.
And I think that is when you look at, take your pick of whomever you want to cite. If you have the combination of the love of the game at a young age, and then as you're in your whatever age, teens, you know, and you just fall in love with winning because you hate losing that much, then it becomes obsessive and you're just on a mission. Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, whoever else you want to cite. I'm not like picking, I'm just my mind. And I'm sure there's plenty of guys who came way before me that people would cite, like a Bob Gibson. Certainly seems like he fit that. It's before my time, but it certainly struck me as being that kind of mindset where it's win or die.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Son of an educator here. I know for me personally, I sometimes struggle with my ADD. I have a lot of ADD problems, but someone with ADD is the ability to hyper-focus on certain things. For me, that was something like basketball. I could hyper-focus. And a major example, probably a little bit more than my example, is Michael Phelps. Guy who really struggled with ADD and ADHD.
It's a nice play.
ADHD, and he said one of the best outlets for him was he could hyper-focus on swimming, where his mind couldn't focus in so many other aspects of life. But when he was in the pool and he was focused on swimming, that's the only thing he was worried about. And that's a really good outlet for young kids, if it's sport, to hyper-focus on that. And it helps in so many other aspects of life, especially team sports, learning how to work together, also individual sports, of going through adversity yourself. So there is that great outlet sports can be. And not to mention, if you're, playing sports after school every day, you're not getting in trouble after school every day. There is that value to it. So I think kids just falling in love, like I can hyperfocus, I can get better at this sport. And then kids seeing themselves get better, especially something like golf. Like when you start playing golf and start getting good, that's when you get the bug. And if you can have that at 8 years old, oh my God, you catch the bug at 8. God bless you.
When I was a kid, I saw David Beckham hit a free kick in the World Cup and bend the ball into the net. I decided I wanted to be able to do that, and I started practicing every day. That's from the 314.
Yeah, so these things can come from anywhere, but...
My son is now 17 and plays hockey, loves the sport, still practices by himself when he wants, plays AAA Blues hockey today, and I'm also a hockey guy. I always taught him to love the game by making it fun and always having accessibility to playing the sport. I made sure I got hardwood floors and high baseboards in my house so he could skate with his rollerblades all around the house. Built an ice rink when he was younger so he could go outside and skate on the ice in the winter. How about that? That must be one of your classmates.
Yeah, meat and potatoes guy here.
Yeah. I mean, I can't relate.
Right. Well,
I mean, we would split the gym time at St. Gabriel's and just be excited when we had 15 minutes to practice. And shoes, actually, and shoes. 1051 in St. Louis, send your stories in. I'm curious. I really am. I'm legitimately curious. 314-399-9646 plus the YouTube chat where Tiny PP and Jay Apple and coaches John and Dean Ellis are talking it over, too. So wonderful.
It is wonderful.
It's Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Welcome back to this Balloon Party. My name's Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. And Jackson, it's 10:56. We got 4 minutes to try to earn this audience's respect. I like our chances.
Should we go back to the Full House thing?
Yeah, Danny Tanner, Uncle Jesse.
It's so wild that I grew up watching Full House all the time, and I had no idea Bob Saget worked so blue in the stand-up because he's America's sweetest man in the world.
Yeah.
When he's on Full House, and then I see him in like Entourage, and I'm like, oh my God, I just grew up 10 years in a minute.
Yep.
But it's great. R.I.P. Bob Saget, man. That one's a tough one.
I don't know why there's no audio right now.
Moment of silence for Bob Saget.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Moment of silence.
I didn't know it was. Part of me thinks that's an excuse for not having the questions up.
Well, I got the questions up.
Okay.
I thought we were still on the children.
Oh, this one's for the children.
Yeah.
What do we got? I'll open. I got the YouTube, the text inbox. I have 5 kids and 5 grandkids. They are all active. None of them spends time watching sports on TV. Interesting.
Fair
2,
enough.
3, and 4. One of my proudest moments is when my son told me while he was wrestling in high school that there was no better feeling in the world than to feel someone lose the will right before you pin them.
It's a little brutal, but I understand their point. I've often said that there's no better feeling in the world for me than catching a basketball in rhythm in a competitive game and knocking down a 3, all in rhythm. That's poetry in motion.
Wow. How about
That is it is the most euphoric blast of feeling ever.
Wow. Yeah, what's the best?
It's got to be in
feeling
rhythm,
sports?
Got to be in rhythm, because then you can make it look cool.
Let's see what else I got. I have 3 boys who played a variety of sports, rec and competitive, who don't pay much attention now. My daughter is the youngest, didn't play much, but is a rabid Cardinals and Blues fan. I think it was the 2011 World Series. She was 15 years old. That would make sense. Yeah, something like that. So when I started becoming a Cardinals fan in 82, they won the World Series. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So if you were born in 2010 and you're starting to get interested in hockey, and then you get what you got in 2019,
Yeah.
I would imagine now that you're, 14 years old, you're still ridiculously invested. So I think there's something there. That's a good observation.
If you're born in 98 and you have the 06 World Series when you're 8 years old, that'll do good for your baseball interest.
For a lot of people, the driving force was that sports was a way out of poverty. That's from the 618.
Certainly.
Parents get in the way of the kids seeing value out of sports. That's from the 573. I would say certainly to that one now. I taped a hockey stick to my son's hands, and now he hates hockey. That's from the 314.
Yeah, kids will also rebel. There's the pushing your kids too hard thing.
Yeah. And then Lisa.
Gem.
Great show. Thanks, guys. Have a good afternoon. Lisa.
You bet.
I'm going to the doctor's office at 1. Now, there was a theory. I saw it in the YouTube chat, and you know what it did? It broke my heart. It broke my heart.
You and the YouTube chat and Fredo.
Amen. Because they think that I'm faking it to take the day off tomorrow. I'd already tell you right now, it's highly unlikely I'm going to be in here tomorrow, and if you think I'm faking it, I can't change your mind. I can't do anything about it. I feel like absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And if anything, honestly, I got a tea time tomorrow at 1:10 at Jackson's place.
Yeah.
Because I can't get on anywhere. And the last thing I want to do is have to skip it. A lot of money on the line. Looking forward to it. And if I can't play because I'm sick, I will be tilted. So I'd much rather come in here and do my nitwit song and dance on TMA and Balloon Party. Trust me. So hopefully this doctor gives me some elixir.
Yeah, some potion.
Coming up at 1 o'clock. I need some potion. That's exactly what I need. And we'll be back for Balloon Party. If not, Jackson will be in here breaking down.
Pacers Celtics. Baby.
Yeah, that's exactly
Game
right.
2.
Tomorrow for an hour. Time for us to go. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.